Well, good day, everyone. I'm here once more for our daily talk. Flourish and flow. We started with the change makers way. I shifted to flourish and flow, and now we're really focusing on money matters or money makers, even better. Today, I'm going to talk about this thing called a no regrets investment or investing or no regrets decision. Is there such a thing? I know a lot of people are quite scared to get into investment, but that's the only way or main way that you could make your money work for you is to go into investing. Unless you want a fund manager to do it for you, unless you simply leave your money in an investment in linked policy, or just let your retirement fund 401k in the case in Australia superannuation do it for you. However, that's different. What I'm talking about is actively managing your money so that you can let it work for you. But it can be scary. I mean, a lot of people are actually scared to get into shares or stock investing because of the thought of losing everything that they put in it. People can get scared into investing in the real estate market because what if you tie yourself to such a massive, gigantic commitment of a mortgage? And what if the property market crash, especially in the situation we're in right now where there is so much uncertainty, especially in the US? What if the stock market crashes? And we've seen earlier this year how volatile it was. Well, throughout the year, actually. I mean, in February, a lot of the well-known stocks had been slashed to almost half their market value, so or their price in the market. But then it went back again, bounced back again, crashed again, bounced back again, and it just kept doing that. So yes, obviously there's a lot of risk when it comes to investing your money. So how do we get to a point where we can sleep well at night because we know we've made a no regrets decision? I remember my friend or slash mentor who encouraged me to take seriously investing in the stock market. And the one thing he told me was, Rona, if you start investing now, you're not going to regret it in 10 years' time. Well, that was 5 years ago. And I would say that I have not regretted investing in the share market. And that's the thing, you've got to have a long-term horizon when it comes to investing as well. But let me get back on the topic. How do we do a no regrets decision when it comes to investing? Well, my personal formula to it, and again, this is just my personal formula, all you could do is test it and try it out for yourself if it works, but I highly recommend it, is a combination of right education and focused attention equals no regrets decision. So let me say that again. Having the right education and plus focused attention leads to no regrets decision. So I would make a difference between simply information and education. The danger out there is there's so many people, so many things, especially in social media, competing for attention and feeding us false information. That's not education, that's information, and sometimes it is misinformation. Sometimes you would hear people touting you with a hot, next hot stock and so on and so forth. Like, for example, Zoom, right? We've heard that. Now, do you buy into it or not? So I would say before getting into anything, educate yourself first. And I know this may sound very, very basic for some of you who are already there on your path to financial freedom or already active investors. I'm reaching out and talking to and sharing this more to those who are still starting their journey. Financial literacy is your first step. And Next after that is educating yourself on your chosen vehicle for investing, whether it's the property market or the share market. And there are plenty of free resources online. So how do you get the right education? Make sure you get into credible resources or sources of information. One of the more credible and very rich trove of online information that I go into is Investopedia. So write it down, Investopedia.com. It's kind of like Wikipedia, but it's all about finance and investing. And they have plenty of simplified explanation of personal finance and investing with videos. It's also a very, very credible source, and they have very rich links to other sources as well. So if I'm going to recommend to you a starting point, if this is something that you want to take on, and I highly recommend it, go to Investopedia.com. It's a really great resource. Now, if you want to take things further, there are other courses like academic and university type resources. You can find them in Coursera. And here's a tip too. If you don't have the financial resources right now, you can actually get a scholarship or financial aid in Coursera. So, and it's very, very easy to apply. It's not based on your academic qualifications. All you have to do is answer a few questions why you think you need financial aid to get their or access their courses online. So I highly recommend Coursera. I've taken some of their courses myself, and I said, and as I say, they are university quality type of courses in Coursera. And in fact, one of the courses on finance that I took was taught by a well-known university professor. So go into Coursera, go into Investopedia. Those are really credible, good online resources. And they don't really aggressively market any products to you. And that's one thing you have to be careful of when you look at coaches, educators for personal finance. Make sure they are independent. And what we mean by independent is that they are not representing a specific product company, and that they're ultimately actually intending to market to you a very biased set of products or services when it comes to financial planning. So your sources has to be credible, your sources has to be reliable, and your sources have to be as independent as possible. So to make it simple, just start with that, Investopedia.com and Coursera. Just do a search on personal finance, financial planning, making money, those types of search words. Now, that's education. The other thing you can do is join the right kind of community or surround yourself with people who've been there and done that. So for example, well, in my case, I facilitate every 2 weeks. Well, I don't just facilitate it myself, but we take turns facilitating a prosperity circle, and we meet every 2 weeks. But that's mostly prosperity in general, not specific to investment. But if you're interested, you can always message me if you have any questions. I do have to make a disclaimer. Once again, I am not a certified financial planner, financial advisor, or investment manager. I'm not an accountant, none of that. So don't take my advice as professional advice. I just have to say that for legal purposes, and so I don't get into trouble. Now, the next part of the equation, I talked about education. The next part of the equation is attention. You've got to have goals, and you've got to have, a focus. But having the education will help you identify where your focus areas are. For example, it's best to invest in something that you not only understand, but it comes with education, but you're also interested in. So, for example, in the share market, if you're into fashion, So you probably already have an idea which fashion labels are trending or which fashion labels have that longevity in the business, which fashion labels you have a sense and intuition of that are doing well. That's a great start. Plus, also, if you're interested in something, then that motivates you to do more research into it without trying too hard. Do you know what I mean? So, for example, if you're interested in technology, what are the new apps out there, or what are the groundbreaking technology out there, and what kind of technology, right? Are you interested in robotics? Are you interested in automation, for example? And then there's also ethical investing, and I highly recommend ethical investing. There are companies that are more focused on social impact, creating sustainable contributing to the sustainable development goals we've set by 2030. So there are those types of companies. And actually, if you are someone who's very driven to create an impact yourself or make your contribution, ethical investing is a great way to go about that. So there's a lot of things that you can consider when it comes to attention, but the main ingredient to focus your attention is focus on what you're interested in. At least the 5 to 10 things that interest you the most. And I guarantee you there will be a company, publicly listed company, that you can invest in on those areas. So in my case, for example, initially I wasn't interested in technology, but I got interested in it, and mainly because I work in change and transformation, and that's my professional expertise. And I've come across, certain platforms, technology platforms, enterprise platforms that I thought would do really well. And I also came across publicly listed firms that I thought would do really well. So those are the things that I follow and I'm interested in. Plus, outside share market, and I tend to avoid it because it's really highly volatile. I'm very interested in, the fintech industry. I'm very, very much interested in cryptocurrency, especially blockchain. And I advocate blockchain for many different reasons. I've actually written a blog about that, but that's a different topic altogether, and it's way too complicated to talk about that right now. But that's the thing. I won't have invested, say, in blockchain, Bitcoin. I won't have invested in Bitcoin if I'm not interested in it at all, because in itself, the concept is already very complicated. I actually spent hours and hours and hours watching YouTube videos trying to understand what Bitcoin was all about and the history of money. Yes, the history of money, because Bitcoin is a form of money before I even started buying Bitcoin itself. So that's the simple formula. Education, the right education, plus focused attention equals no regrets decision, no regrets investment. So don't just listen to tips provided by your family, relatives, or someone you overheard giving you this hot tip. That can lead to disaster, and that can lead later on to regrets or even sleepless nights. After all, you're making your money, hard-earned money, work for you. So you might as well spend the time to learn about financial literacy as a first step, to learn about the various types of investing available, and have fun with it by focusing on the companies, focusing on the industries that are naturally interesting for you. And for example, travel industry as well. Like, I am very much interested in travel, and there's so many different companies that are involved in travel, whether it's the airline industry, which isn't a good investment at the moment, of course, and the booking companies, or aggregators as they call it, travel aggregators, or what else? Well, like TripAdvisor, for example, that's an example of a travel company. So if you're very much interested in that, you already have a sense of the industry anyway, so you might as well focus your attention on those things you're interested in and make it more fun for yourself. So hopefully this simple tip helps you. I know this is just barely scratching the surface, but you've got to start somewhere. And as my friend told me, if you start now, you're not gonna regret it in 10 years. So we've got to have that broad, big picture and long-term horizon when it comes to investing. And it doesn't hurt to talk to a coach as well. Maybe I'll be one, who knows, the financial coach, but make sure you get independent advice and they're not simply marketing products to you, and there's so many people out there like that. So in summary, no regrets decision is based on right education and focus attention, and put your attention into things that are naturally interesting for you. Hopefully that helps, and I'll give you my positive juju once more, positive energy, and continue on this journey to financial freedom so you would flourish and flow in life, living a rich, rewarding, and meaningful life for yourself and others. Ciao! See you again tomorrow.